Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If someone asked you to explain, clearly, calmly, why you deserve what you have right now, could you do it without feeling like you're exaggerating, without softening your voice, without adding disclaimers, without saying, "I just got lucky"? Most people hesitate at that question, not because they're lying, but because the better you get at something, the harder it becomes to see it as impressive. What once felt impossible now feels obvious. What once took effort now feels automatic. So when the world points at your work and says, "This matters," your mind quietly disagrees. It says, anyone could do this. It's not that deep. They just don't see the flaws yet. This isn't humility, and it isn't self-doubt either. It's something stranger. To understand it, I want to tell you a story. It's about a man who built a city in the sky and still believed he didn't earn it. His name was Silas. Silas was known as the architect of glass. He designed the Spire of Orion, a city suspended above the clouds. To the world, he was a prodigy, someone who could look at empty air and see structure, someone who could calculate forces other people didn't even notice. But inside his studio, the truth was different. At night, Silas sat alone under a flickering lamp, rain hammering against a massive window behind him. Blueprints covered every surface. He stared at them for hours, like they belonged to someone else. He traced the lines with graphite-stained fingers and thought, "I don't remember making this. Did I copy this without realizing? What if I just guessed and it worked?" One calculation haunted him. A decimal point he checked again and again and again. Not because he was careless, because he was terrified. He looked at his hands that had shaped a city, and thought they looked like the hands of a child pretending to be his father. Every finished building felt like borrowed time. Every success felt final. That was luck, he told himself. That was the last one. There's a strange trick the mind plays at high skill levels. The more fluent the work becomes, the less impressive it feels. And when something feels easy, the brain assumes it doesn't count. So Silas didn't see mastery. He saw common sense. The day the spire opened, the city celebrated like it had witnessed a miracle. Music echoed through white stone streets. Sunlight bounced off glass and steel. The king placed a platinum medal around Silas's neck. It was cold, heavy. "You have a gift from the gods," the king said. Silas smiled and felt sick. The crowd chanted his name, but all he could hear was a ringing in his ears. Every compliment felt like an accusation. Every cheer felt premature. He wanted to shout, "Stop! Take it back! I guessed! I panicked! I got lucky!" He imagined the tower collapsing while everyone was still applauding. So Silas disappeared. He stopped accepting commissions, locked himself inside his studio, not to work, to hide. When reality conflicts with identity, the brain panics. Praise stops feeling like validation and starts feeling like danger, because accepting it would mean becoming someone unfamiliar, and the mind would rather doubt the world than rewrite who you think you are. The storm came without warning. Wind tore through the sky. Glass vibrated. The city swayed. Silas woke to the sound of something enormous testing its limits. He ran to the window. The spire, his spire, was bending in the wind. His knuckles went white on the windowsill. And here is the truth he never admitted out loud. Part of him wanted it to fall. Not out of anger, out of relief. If it collapses, he thought, I won't have to pretend anymore. The waiting will be over. When uncertainty lasts too long, the brain starts craving certainty, even if that certainty is failure. Collapse feels easier than waiting to be exposed. Hours passed. Trees were ripped from the ground, roofs vanished into the dark. But the spire didn't break. It flexed, it adapted, it held. The calculations Silas called guesses were understanding. The materials he feared were weak were resilient. By morning, the city was damaged, but standing. So was the tower. Fear never had authority over the structure. It was never the judge of ability. It was just noise during construction. Feelings don't build foundations. Actions do. As the sun rose through broken clouds, Silas stepped outside. He placed his hand against the glass. For the first time, he didn't feel exposed, just tired and honest. He pulled out a sketchbook and began drawing again. Silas finally understood something simple and brutal. He hadn't been building with paper. He had been building with steel the entire time. The fear didn't mean he was fake. It meant the work mattered. And if this story feels familiar, it's because you are Silas. They call it imposter syndrome, but it isn't a flaw. It's what happens when your growth outpaces your identity. So stop checking the blueprints. The foundation is solid. It's time to build the next floor.